Hello everybody, this is Toysareruss, and for this third-party figure showcase and review, we're going to be looking at the Magic Square B56 Tyrannosaurus Rex, which I'm pretty sure you can guess is a third-party company's take at a Generation 1 grimlock figure. So we're going to have a quick look at him in both his modes, help you decide how you want to display him. We'll have a look at the accessories that come with him and how you can use them in each mode. We can then also bring in the original Generation 1 figure to see how he looks and fares against that. And of course some of the other third-party figures that we've got, just to give you an idea of his size and scales. But before we start though, I need to first and foremost thank Shozy, because that's where this came from, and I'm going to leave a direct link in the description if you want to get one of these for yourself. And of course to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please, because it really will help me out. Right, so here's the packaging, and as I said, Magic Square, they're not licensed by Hasbro or Takara, so they make transforming figures, so they can't call them by their proper name. And let's be honest, you can definitely again tell that they are pretty much copying the Generation 1 packaging. The box is lovely though, it feels quality, it's got that nice sheen to it, and it is also really thick, strong, sturdy cardboard. They've even gone cheeky to the next level and given us a tech spec as well. So the overall box is pretty nice, to be honest. He does come packaged in robot mode with his gun, which we will of course see a bit later on. He comes with a collector's card as well, which again is a take from the old Takara Generation 1 figures. The instructions, as pretty much always, are pretty useless, but I'm going to upload a separate tutorial anyway. And he's also got a sword, a fish, of course you can reenact the scenes from the cartoon, another set of hands, and of course a crown. Now I've got to be completely honest, Magic Square figures I don't normally like. This one's okay. I think for the price though, I think you can get a lot better, and I do say that quite a lot about Magic Square. The one thing I will say that I was very pleasantly surprised with is that the transformation wasn't too overly complicated. Now with these, the plastics on this feel a little soft. Now unfortunately I don't have the New Age one to hand, but the New Age one definitely felt a little bit more robust. I mean, granted it was at about another $10 more or whatever, but it just felt that little bit more robust. If we look at the figure itself, you can see you can of course turn the neck, you can move the head up and down, you can open the jaw up and down. There's something there where you can attach like a blast effect that'll lift up and down, but there's no blast effect for you to attach to it. However, you could, if you really wanted to, could you? I don't know. It looks like it's the same. Yeah, you could put a sword in his mouth. I don't know why you'd want to, but again, it is blast effect compatible if you've got a few of them. So the neck, as you'd expect, is fully articulate. The arms as well, you can see you've got 1, 2, 3 points of articulation on the small arms, which is great. We also seem to have the industry standard change the eyes from toy to cartoon, change the eye around by spinning this. Let me see if I can do it. This is why I think the instructions are useless. That is not in the instructions, so you might not even be aware of that, which just to me seems crazy. There he is next to the G1 figure, and that's why you've got the red eyes. And of course in the cartoon, let's move these out of the way to get rid of the glare, he had the blue eyes. So at least you've got the choice of two. Now this is a legend scale figure, which is obviously means they're quite a bit smaller than your standard ones, but they all scale pretty well. And as you can see, it's literally as big as a Generation 1 Dinobot. Right, so that's Grimlock put up there. We've got to carry on with the articulation. So there is the hips, or the top of the legs. These will spin all the way around. You can actually move them out a little bit as well. It is more for transformation purposes, that, but you can, if you want to, unseen, you know, you could take it further back if you wanted to as well. You wouldn't know that I've separated that, is what I'm trying to say, but it should stay attached. There will leg, well, that's again for the arm, but you can still move this like a knee joint. Each claw moves on this particular hinge, so there's two there and there's one there. The tail itself, does it spin around? Does it sway? It doesn't, to be honest. I thought it might. No, that's definitely going to snap it, so we don't want to do that. Overall, it's pretty good. It does look like what he looks like in the cartoon, and I know that's one of the big things that these third-party companies pretty much aim for every time. So let me get it back to the blue eyes. I much prefer the blue eyes. I think it looks better with the amount of yellow that's in this. I prefer the red with the chrome on the original toy, but I prefer the yellow with the blue eyes on this particular thing. Right, so let's do a couple of normal figures first and foremost. What I mean by normal is for those people who don't know what third party are, etc. So there is a deluxe Bumblebee. There's your Voyager Prime, and there's a Generation 1 Prime, just for him to stand by. And that's a very small deluxe Bumblebee, which is, again, just to give you an idea of scale and size. So this is New Age's Optimus, which to be fair is about the same size as the Magic Square. And then I've also got an Iron Factory Iron Bison, which is one of the other third parties, and these guys pretty much scale all together quite well, in all honesty. The ones that they don't scale with but they're quite fun is the Doctor Wu, and that's just purely because they're tiny. But to be honest, you could make Grimlock look huge there with Ultra Magnus. A little bit too big for that, so that wouldn't work. So yeah, if you've got your Magic Square, then that's pretty much the size of him compared to that. That's all there is to say about him in dinosaur mode. Let's come back. In fact, let me just put that there. Let's come back and have a look at him in his robot mode. Okay, we're back and he's in his robot mode, so we can do some comparisons, some display ideas, and of course clear a few things up. This is definitely not Bumblebee, this is Bumblebee. It's because I had this one in my line of sight when I was talking about it earlier. Right, so because this I suppose is cartoon accurate, and this Grimlock is indeed intended to be cartoon accurate, I thought I'd put the two together anyway, just to give you an idea. Now this I suppose is where you get the proper and true sense that these are what I would class as, well, they are legend scale, but what I mean by that is, again, for people who don't know, is they are much smaller than, of course, the mainstream figures. So of course Bumblebee would only be up to about there, which he was in the animation. So as I say, this is giving you an idea of the fact that they are much smaller than your main line figures. This, of course, is the original Generation 1 Grimlock, which is still one of my all-time favourite toys. I've got to confess, I was really lucky enough to have him as a child, way back in 85 it must have been. So the crazy thing for these, the same with the New Age ones, is that they are the same size as pretty much the G1, which again for me is just nuts. So we've got the sword, but of course they've gone with the more animation accurate sword. Oh, the hand, that's an annoying thing with not just Magic Square, loads of figures. I hate it when they do that, to be fair. I'm just copying this one here first. There you go, that's going to put in there. Of course the gun again is pretty much a direct copy of that. We can also pop the crown on by the looks of this. Is this got a special way of fitting on? It should do. That looks like it's gonna fit. Let's have a go at this. Why is it so fiddly? Maybe it's not that way, maybe it's this way. Anyway, I think we've all seen what Grimlock looks like with his crown on. It annoys me though when you can't just get it on. I think that's pretty much it. A bit too big, maybe, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a little bit too big. The hands, I'm sure you can imagine, you're just going to pop off, and they've still got articulation, so I need to do that with you right now. Let's move him out of the way and let's have a look. I'm going to take the crown off just so you can see it's proper stuck on now, funnily enough. So the head, yes, does spin around as we've discussed. You can see it's on a mushroom peg, so it will look up and down. Now I don't think that you can change the eyes around with this. It doesn't look like you can anyway, and again, it isn't in the instructions even if you can. If we take these back, move them back a little bit, it gives you a bit more range of motion, but again, you are heavily restricted by these. They don't really go any further back. Your arms will go out to the sides past the point of the T. They'll come all the way up. They will swivel at the, oh yeah, just at the bicep there. They won't swivel at the shoulder. The shoulder can come out though. It is part of the transformation process, but it will come out if you want to get that little bit more range of articulation. Let's just take the weapons off him first and foremost. So yeah, so then of course you've got the bicep flexion. It pretty much goes all the way over due to the transformation as well, and then that starts to swing down. It will go up and down, but again, that is for your transformation. As you've seen, the fists are on ball and socket, and they are just as simple as bringing it out here. And I might as well do it actually if we're here. Take that one off, so make sure I've got the right hand. That's the wrong one. Sometimes these can be quite fiddly, see what I mean, because this part here, this little ball here, is the wrist articulation. So the problem that you've got is sometimes it makes it, oh, it's gone in, super difficult, and luckily enough that wasn't super difficult. So it still should all line up as normal, which it does. You've now just got open palm grimlock and a closed palm grimlock. That looks very, very odd. Let's just ignore that for now. But this is what the legend scale figures have that a lot of mainline don't. They have the ab crunch, and that is intentional. That's not just for transformation. That is an intentional ab crunch, so he can clearly bend over. He's got, even though you've got all that kibble behind him, if you just lift the head slightly out of the way, you do have a full 360 rotation at the waist if you need it. These are on skirts, which do, is it? I'm sure they were. I am incorrect. I do apologize. It will kick only up that far, but it will go back. It's the side the skirt is. There you go. The skirt on the side goes up on the side. On the front, it does ever so slightly. I thought it did, but again, with these, I'm always scared because the plastic, it just feels quite soft, and anybody who's got Magic Square will probably understand what I mean. The knees bend all the way back, the feet, there is your toe tilt, ankle rock, etc. Again, you can't fault that looks awful. You can't fault the articulation on these guys. They are great. Right, I'm going to leave that there just for now. Again, the color scheme is very, very bland. That is because it is just supposed to replicate what he looks like in the cartoon. And again, even though it sounds like I've given him a bit of a hard time, you can't argue with the fact that he looks like he's just fell off the cartoon. So with regards to some mainline figures, that is, of course, deluxe. In fact, I've got a whole concoction here of different figures. So them two are mainline deluxe. He's a little bit bigger. In fact, these are smaller deluxe figures. This is New Age's Prime, which again, that is how you'd expect Grimlock. And indeed, with the Studio Series 86, that's exactly how they line up. This, of course, is Voyager Class Prime. That is G1 Prime. And funnily enough, there is little Core Class Grimlock. There's not much more to say about it. Again, it's very articulate. It's more expensive than a core class. It's got more accessories than a core class. It isn't licensed by Hasbro or Takara, and I know that the people who do collect these absolutely love them, and that's the beauty of collecting Transformers in this day and age. There is just an absolute abundance of companies out there that allow us to pick the designs, the shades, the colours, every single thing that you can think of with these figures. And I think that's the best thing about being a collector, as I say, at this moment in time. Let me know what you think of him in the comments though, guys. Take care.